with a view to develop foundational learning as emphasized by the National Education Policy (NEP 2020), Samagra Shikha Nagaland in collaboration with State Council for Educational Research and Training (SCERT) is conducting 3-day training for master trainers. The 3-day District Master Trainers (DMT) for Foundational Literacy and Numeracy (FLN) and Early Childhood Care and Education (ECCE) at SCERT Kohima has master trainers from the different stakeholders including Social Welfare Department, Educational Block Research Center (EBRCs), District Institute of Education and Training (DIETs), SCERT, School Education and Samagra Shiksha are participating in the first major convergence training program to improve foundational education. Speaking at the inaugural program, Commissioner and Secretary School Education and SCERT, Kevileno Angami said that 85% of brain development in a child occurs prior to 6 years and it is critical to give emphasis in nurturing the growth of the brain during this period. Prior to NEP, the system of education in the country and the state did not focus on FLN and ECCE, especially in the government schools, she said. But realizing the importance of giving focus on ECCE and FLN in the foundational years, NEP has been given the focus and introduced NIPUN Bharat Mission at the center and set with state level and district level NBMs. Therefore the focus is now on FLN and ECCE, she said. The teaching learning materials TLM and the numerous learning materials have been developed by the SCERT Nagaland with the support of Samagra Shiksha. State Mission Director, Samagra Shiksha, Nagaland, Temsunaro said the 3 days training program for the master trainers is conducted to provide orientations on use of Teacher's Handbook on FLN, TLM developed by the SCERT for the pre-primary students and primary foundational students to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy for all children as per the NIPUN Bharat Mission objectives. Following this 3 days training, the same training program shall be conducted in the EBRCs for the teachers and head teachers, she said, adding that the next phase of training in the block level shall cover a target of 6,716 teachers and head teachers from 1,679 schools having pre-primary and primary classes. TLMs will be provided to about 38,519 pre-primary children and 45,213 students from classes 1 to 5 studying in government schools, she said, while expressing hope that these interventions will motivate the teachers and students and improve learning outcomes. NEP 2020 gives focus on competency-based learning, experiential learning, joyful learning, toy-based pedagogy and life skills acquisition. Therefore, we must all work hard to ensure that our teachers impart holistic quality education to the students, she said. Delivering the keynote address, SCERT Nagaland Director N. Chumchabeni Kikong said NEP 2020 accords the highest priority to achieving foundational literacy and numeracy among all children by 2025. Reading, writing and numeracy are always believed to be the foundational skills. Without being able to read, write well and do basic calculations, a child cannot progress in the education system and eventually may not progress in life, she said. The major policy documents have always pointed towards the need to consider early language, literacy and numeracy more seriously, she said. The good foundation of literacy and numeracy skills has a positive impact on the learning of the child in senior classes, and therefore there is the importance of the implementation plan for attaining universal foundational literacy and numeracy in all primary schools and ensure that every child in the country attains foundational literacy and numeracy, FLN, by the end of grade 3, within 2026-27, she said. With the launch of the National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, NIPUN Bharat National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy, on July 5, 2021, and the subsequent launch of NIPUN Bharat in Nagaland on December 1, 2021, SCERT Nagaland in collaboration with Samagra Shiksha has been actively engaged in initiating and implementing FLN-related strategies and practices. This capacity building program is one of the most key initiatives taken up towards achieving foundational literacy and numeracy in the state, she said. Quoting Annual Status of Education Report ASER 2018, she said 72.8% children cannot read a simple Class 2 level text, while 71.9% children cannot do a basic subtraction problem by Class 3. Class 3 is considered the inflection point by which children are expected to learn to read so that they can read to learn. After that, she said, adding that FLN skills enable children to learn more meaningfully in higher classes and acquire 21st century skills like problem solving and critical thinking. Those who fail to attain these basic literacy and numeracy skills find it difficult to catch up in later years and risk dropping out of school, she remarked. The future of our children depends on whether our children attain the foundational literacy and numeracy skills by class 3, she said. The way forward to ensuring that every child, in Nagaland, achieves the desired learning competencies in speaking, reading and writing with comprehension, perform basic mathematical operations and learn basic life skills, by the end of grade 3, by 2026-27 is through the NIPUN Bharat Mission Nagaland, she added.
And now it is time for us to take the mission to where it matters most, and that is to the classrooms. And this training is basically for that. We all know also by now that ECCE and FLN are two sides of the same coin, and each cannot be treated as a separate entity. So this training, if you have gone through the schedule, it is designed to cover all aspects of ECCE and FLN so that teachers are better equipped with skills and knowledge with the latest pedagogies for competency building among our students, especially of the FLN stage. All right, we have a big number. Thank you for coming. Please be seated. From the Social Welfare Department. Thank you. Thank you for coming. From the EBRCs, the TOTs and teachers who have been deputed. That's a huge number. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And Directorate of Social Welfare, School Education. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. And Samagra Shiksha, we are all here. So you can stand up, Samagra Shiksha also. Alright, and SCERT. SCERT officials can, yes. Okay, thank you so much.
The keynote address at this very important state level building program for the district master trainers on ECCE and FLN under NIPUN Bharat Mission. I also acknowledge the presence of our Commissioner and Secretary, Ma'am Kevileno, Ma'am Tansunaro, State Mission Director, Samagra and the officials. Sir Defa Salim, Principal Director, is supposed to join us, but he is not here now, and the officials. Officials from the Directorate of Social Welfare, the Nectar Team Nagaland, the stakeholders, the teaching faculty from the diets, the resource team consisting personnel from SCERT, diet, and school. Thank you everyone for your participation. The National Education Policy 2020 accords the highest priority to achieving foundational literacy and numeracy among the children by 2025. Reading, writing, and numeracy are always believed to be their foundational skills. Without being able to read, write well, and do basic calculations, a child cannot progress in the education system and eventually may not progress in life. The mature policy documents have always pointed towards the need to consider early language, literacy, and numeracy more seriously. A good foundation of literacy and numeracy skills have a positive impact on the learning of a child in senior classes. This brings to the fore the importance of the implementation plan for attaining universal foundational literacy and numeracy in all primary schools and ensure that every child in the country attains foundational literacy and numeracy by the grade of class 3 within 2026 and 27. With the launch of the National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, NIPUN Bharat. NIPUN means National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. That is called NIPUN. On 5th July 2021 and the subsequent launch of NIPUN Bharat in Nagaland on 1st December 2021 by the Chief Minister Nagaland, SCERT, in collaboration with Samagra Shiksha, has been actively engaged in initiating and implementing FLN-related strategies and practices. This capacity building program is one of the most key initiatives taken up towards achieving foundational literacy and numeracy in the state. The report on the state of foundational literacy and numeracy in India, released on 16 December 2021, has revealed that there is a huge gap between the top scoring state in the country, Kerala, with a score of 67.95, and Nagaland with a score of 42.47. In the Northeast state category, our state stands only in the 5th position, and the gap is still compared to big state like a state like Mizoram, the top scoring state in the Northeastern category with a score of 51.64. This requires our immediate attention to the learning outcomes in the foundational literacy and numeracy. We are aware foundational literacy and numeracy, FLN, refers to basic learning, that is, reading, writing, and mathematical skills that a child needs to develop in early years. Falling behind in the foundational learning years, which encompass of preschool and elementary education, makes children more vulnerable as it negatively impacts their learning outcomes. According to ASAR 2018, 72.8 children cannot read simple text of class 2, while 71.9 children cannot do basic subtraction problem by class 3. Class 3 is considered the inflection point by which children are expected to learn to read so that they can read to learn after that. FLN skills enables children to learn more meaningfully in high classes and acquire 21st century skills like problem solving and critical thinking. Those who fail to attain these basic literacy and numeracy skills find it difficult to catch up in later years and risk dropping out of school. The future of our children depends on whether our children attain the foundational literacy and numeracy skills by class 3. The way forward to ensuring that every child in Nagaland achieves the desired learning competencies in speaking, reading, and writing with comprehension, perform basic mathematical operations, and learn basic life skills by the end of class 3, that is, to be achieved by 2026 and 2027, is through NIPUN Bharat Mission Nagaland. All the participants of this capacity building program are the key players for the accomplishment of this very urgent national mission. Your roles are very crucial, and your active involvement in a responsible manner throughout the implementation process is highly anticipated. Today, getting this opportunity, I would like to thank and also congratulate the team of resource persons who applied continuous effort to bring out a handbook on supplementary activities on pedagogies for enhancing numeracy skills, language, and literacy development. This resource book will guide the way towards the development of more innovative materials to make classroom resource-rich, empowering the teachers to achieve the targeted learning outcomes of children. I am ending with a call for action to all the participants and stakeholders to productively and optimally contribute towards achieving the FLN mission goals. No doubt we have an excellent beginning. Let us close it with a roaring success. For nothing succeeds like success. Thank you, everyone.
Three days training program, this training program for the district master trainers on FLN and SCCE. As Dr. Pijanova has already said, FLN and SCCE is two sides of the same coin. It's been conducted to provide orientations on use of teachers' handbook on foundational literacy and numeracy, teaching learning materials in short TLMs developed by the experts from the by the SCERT for the pre-primary students and primary foundational students to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy for all children as per the NIPUN Bharat Mission objectives. So all of us are aware that NEP 2020 gives focus on competency-based learning, experimental learning, joyful learning, toy-based pedagogy and life skills acquisition. Therefore, we must all work hard to ensure that our teachers impart holistic quality education to the students. So, following now, you'll be attending this program, and right after completing this program, this 3 days program, the same training will be replicated. It will be trainings will be conducted in the EBRCs block levels for the teachers and head teachers. So I would urge all the participants here for the 3 days training to be, all of us are all adults, we are not talking to children, so you give your best effort and you be attentive, and then, so that you translate in quality training, programs in the block level. So now the next phase, as I said, will be in the block level. The target is to cover 6,716 teachers across 72 blocks and head teachers, 6,716 teachers and head teachers from 1,679 schools having pre-primary and primary classes. The TLMs that have been developed by the SCERT officials here will be provided to about 38,519 pre-primary children and 45,213 students from class 1 to 5 studying in government schools. So it is sincerely desired that these interventions will motivate the teachers and students and improve learning outcomes. So I believe all of you must have read the NAS report, which was published recently. If you go through the reports, in most of the categories, very sadly, the Nagaland achievement was indicated much below the national average, which is a matter of great concern for all. So we understand that COVID, the blame was always been on the COVID. We understand that the COVID pandemic has affected the learning progress for our students. However, this pandemic was experienced not only in Nagaland, but that was throughout the world. And we don't have special reasons for the poor learning outcomes of our students. All of us must seriously reflect on improving learning outcomes. The state conducted the baseline survey in the in a sample covering around 15 to 20 sample schools. I don't have the figure, but then covering a few thousand children in the covering both the private and government schools. So the baseline survey was conducted during December and Mon district due to some certain reasons. That could be done only in January 2022. So the FLN, the baseline survey for FLN was conducted for children studying in class 1 to 3. So we'll be sharing the baseline survey report with all of you. In line with this NEP 2020, this training program has been organized to bring a convergence, synchronization, convergence between stakeholders of education by involving participants from the Social Welfare, Directorate of School Education, DIET, ECCE and Samagra Shiksha. As subject experts and teachers trainers, I request all of you to take the training program seriously, and as you conduct the training program for the teachers in the EBRCs as resource persons later on, the quality ensure that quality training is provided to all the teachers in their respective blocks. I would like to mention one thing here, that we have to remember that the first 1 to 6 years in our children is very sensitive. It's very sensitive in their brain development. So this ultimately will determine whether a child has had a strong or a weak foundation. So this training would certainly, I'm very hopeful that this training will be, meaningful to address all these issues where now, as given in the ASER report and then all these NAS report, that Nagaland is yet to, catch up with the rest of the states. So there is a big paradox here when we claim that Nagaland also ranks, in a higher in the literacy rate. But if you really look at the ground level, and then the various reports speaks that our foundational, achievements is way below the national average. So there's a big paradox here. Then, we as educators, trainers, we have a big challenge before us in order to address all these, challenges that we have in addressing the FLN Foundational Literacy and Numeracy. So I thank all the officers, especially from the SCERTs, for the tireless effort, and dedication in developing customized TLMs, which you'll be, going through in the next 3 days, and the teacher's handbook and other resources to support our teachers. We are fortunate to have a pool of, subject experts here in ECCE. With this, I hope that definitely learning outcomes, progressive learning outcomes will be, achieved after, completing this training, and then the resources, whatever you have learned here is translated into the ground. So I wish all of you gathered here for a meaningful and fruitful sessions for the next 3 days. Thank you.
Of the SCER report, the NAS, and then the baseline survey that was conducted in our state, it should give us the impetus to work harder towards strengthening the foundational skills of our children. Now I shall hand over the time to our Commissioner and Secretary of School Education and SCERT, Madam Kevileno Angami.
First, convergence 3-day state-level capacity building for district master trainers on ECCE and FLN. I think this is the first time where all the stakeholders are gathering together to attend a program like this. As already shared, and as studies show, 85% of brain development occurs prior to 6 years in a child. Therefore, it's critical to give emphasis in nurturing the growth of the brain in a child during this period. We all know the kind of education, the system of education followed in the country and in our state. Prior to NEP, focus was not given to FLN, especially in the government school or ECCE. But NEP, realizing the importance of giving focus on early childhood care, on foundational literacy and numeracy, on the importance of learning in the foundational years. Focus has been given to ECCE and FLN. Therefore, as shared earlier by the earlier speakers, a separate mission known as the NIPUN Bharat Mission has been set up in the center, and similarly here in the state too we have a state NIPUN Bharat Mission. In the district too we have the district missions. Emphasis is now being given to, and we have to give emphasis on early childhood care and learning. Most of the time, and in fact it's a practice, that at the end of or when the HSLC results are declared, or when the class 8 exam results are declared, then we start pointing fingers, but without realizing that unless the foundation is strong, unless the foundation of learning, reading and numeracy is strong in the basis, in the foundation, however much you try to learn at the later years, it's difficult to cope up. It will be rote learning without understanding the concepts, without understanding how it happened. Therefore, focus is now being given to foundational literacy and numeracy and early childhood care. As my colleagues have already shared, the TLMs and the numerous resource materials have been developed by the SCERT with the support of Samagra Shiksha. And you, those present here, the master trainers, you will be the game changers. You will be the game changers for our state. We have to nurture young minds. We have to nurture and ensure that these young minds are molded to be persons who can understand and not just memorizing whatever is given in the textbooks, but understand, to be able to critically think why things happen. You are the game changers who will go back to your respective places to disseminate the learnings which will take place during the next 3 days. So with these few words, I would like to request all of you and also wish all of you insightful time, and I also wish that even in the future, like we have converged today, the various departments, the various stakeholders present today, even in the future we will work together. Unless we, all the stakeholders, work together, if we work piecemeal, then our aims, our objectives will not be wholly achieved. So I wish all of you a very insightful time. Thank you.
I thank our Commissioner and Secretary for encouraging us and reminding us of our roles and responsibilities towards realizing the goals and objectives of the NIPUN Bharat Mission.
Pledge. Let us join hands to ensure a conducive learning environment, enabling all children to achieve foundational skills. We pledge to make the school a place of joyful and experiential learning where children can use their language freely, ask questions freely, play freely, and where every child is respected. Let us make the school as well as the home a place for developing lifelong skills for reading with comprehension, writing with purpose, and understanding numeracy in every child that they can apply in their everyday life situations. Let us strive to make education meaningful and joyful for each